black friends group that wants to take little girls. Now, so during the duration of this video, we're going to play some visuals and audio clips of themselves, so we're not putting words in none of their mouths. And maybe, just maybe, GMS can do a response video saying, you're with your leader saying that, you know, how young you gotta get them, and you gotta grape them, right? If you want to grape you a woman, you can grape you a woman. Get them at 11 and 12 years old, and you gotta grape them, right? And we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the domestic violence that is promoted. We're in that group, this fringe group. Again, this is not a Hebrew Israelite group, this fringe group. We're going to talk about how they say, you know, you can buy prostitutes. We're going to prove all this out of their mouths, so we're not putting any words in their mouth. So hypothetically, right, Hassad, hypothetically, right, because they teach you can eat food sacrificed to idols. You can have your Christmas dinner, your Thanksgiving dinner. Hypothetically, you could eat food sacrificed to idols, and when you get done eating that food, hanging out with your family, you could go to a brothel, potentially get a 11, 12-year-old
no prostitute
and you forgot your wallet at the house, so you just grab her up, you grape her, and then you leave. That will, and according to their theology, that's all lawful. Everything I just said is lawful. You leave from eating your food sacrificed to idols. You get to the prostitute house. You see the 12-year-old. You forgot your wallet. So you everything that they just did, they say is lawful. Now,
this, you know, but I want to, for brothers that are in Great Millstone that do not agree with this.
Shalom, shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. I like to definitely give double honors to the apostles and elders of the Great Millstone and rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in this gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just going to be a lesson through the Spirit. I was kind of meditating on this because I've done a lesson. We've all done lessons on this topic. But what you're seeing here is the ex-Sakari rejects on camera. This is by the dude with the fitted hat, the bowling ball head nigga. That's the 4-foot gremlin by the name of Deacon Hakah. Well, Hakah, he don't go by Deacon anymore, which he never should have went by that title in the first place, because clearly he's not a righteous man, all right? Clearly carnal. And then to the left, you have this sidekick, Hassad here. Okay, which is both former Sakari members. And basically what he's doing is going on a slander campaign, and he's basically twisting the words of what we teach regarding Deuteronomy 22 and 28. But if these guys were so scholarly and they knew they shit like they claim they did, they will understand that when you go into the book of Deuteronomy 22 and 28, they like to play on the emotions of the congregation, okay? They like to play on the emotions of you slow bellies out there that follow them, because, you know, one thing about Jake in America, they're very emotional. They highly reactive, okay? When something don't sound right, they don't ponder on it. They don't think it through or come up with some type of solution to figure things out. But instead, Jake is very reactive, okay? That's just like if somebody shoots in it. That's like, if somebody shoots in the air, let's just say if you was testing your firearm off and you shot in the air, a nigga would just get the shooting around them because he thinks somebody's shooting at him, which common sense would tell you to get the hell out of there if you hear gunshots. But they don't assess the threat. They just go off what they see and what they think and what they feel, which is basically emotion. And this passive-aggressive dickhead right here, and that's exactly, he's a passive-aggressive dickhead. Okay, that's what he is. The guy's not sincere. He never has been sincere. Okay, nobody really fucks with him like that. Nobody really likes him like that. You know, and you're gonna find out that this man, he's probably a plant. Okay, I wouldn't doubt it. Okay, like I said, I never trusted this guy. It's just something about him. The scriptures say you could tell a man by his countenance. All right. Now, if he's a man of the Lord, then hey, I will gladly say Salakia that I've misspoke on this man, but I highly doubt he's a man of Yahweh Hashem Hawashai, though I do not have the final say so on that. But just his actions alone and the shit he's doing, because clearly he's making it seem like that we're going out there and telling people to great girls. Like, are you out your fucking mind, bro? You know how stupid and pitiful you sound, but we understand you need a sorority show. Okay, you need people to tune in to your content. You need to grow your numbers. So anything that mimics controversy, this nigga he's gonna be all for it. You know, that's just what these guys do. It's all for clout because he knows this is not true. So basically, he's twisting the word. So Deuteronomy 22 and 28, we're gonna get into a couple of words and break down the meaning of it. But long story short, they teach that Deuteronomy 22 and 28 is not talking about taking a woman and raping her or against her will, whatever you want to, what this society calls rape, right? Now, when you go into the definition of rape, it just means to seize. That's it. Like if somebody say, I'm going to rape your pockets, meaning you got to run that. These guys making it seem like niggas is jumping off buildings and ski masks and billy clubs and clubbing women over side the head and drugging them in a dark alley, when that's not the case here, okay? Women is known as property, all right? And in the ancient world, even in certain cultures in Africa, they still have this tradition that if they see a woman, she looks good, and they want her, they would take her, they will have sex with her, and she will become his wife. See, they don't go into the fact that, okay, well, that's going to be your wife. You got to take care of her. They're playing on the emotion of grape or rape because what the West has portrayed it to be. Now, in no means we're advocating for any brothers to go out there and do some sick shit like that. But we're telling you, according to the Bible, if you saw a woman that you liked, okay, even though it was outside of the tradition, so to speak, but it did happen. That's why it was a law out there, because men understood and were very well aware that women were property, and they understood the law. Like, well, look, she was promised off by a father to a boy, to a man, and that's how it happened, or most cases, if she just out there and he sees her, he gets the hots up for her, he take her, they do the thing, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is, and then you got to pay a dowry, and then that's your wife. It's just that simple. But these niggas, these clowns right here, because that's what they are. They're a bunch of these some fucking goof troops, man, if you ask me. They make it more complicated than what it is. Because when you go into the book of Numbers, I think 30 or 31, it goes into how when Moses told us to pretty much kill the men, all the women that have been touched by men, and the young women you save for yourselves, which you got the word virgin, you got damsel, okay? You have two different definitions of virgin, okay? And we can go into actually both of them. Then you have damsel, which is a similar definition, but it gets a little bit more intrinsic, right? So I did a little research, and scholars say different things, okay? So I typed in this. I said, how old was Rebecca when she married Isaac, right? Now I said, according to the Jewish Woman's Archives, Rebecca was 14 years old. Uh-oh. Wait. So according to these niggas, consent, or according to their rhetoric, this would be considered a little girl. Now, nature tells tales, nature tells no lies. Okay, when a woman's body begins to mature, she's able to have eggs, or she's ovulating. That means that her body is made ready for sex. But I'm a believer that, as far as the maturity of the mind, the body follows in a roundabout way. So you have little girls today, they have little bodies on them, right? Like I have a 14-year-old daughter. You can look at her and know she's a young lady. Her body is prepped for marriage. That means she's ready to be with a man. Physically, but mentally, she's not there. Okay, because in this society, people are totally de-aged here, meaning their mindsets are totally fragile compared to what they were over 2,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So a 14-year-old girl today, that's like a fucking kid, because the mentality, her body may say something different, but her mentality says, but her mentality is just clearly not there. She's still a little girl. But even then, when we were kids, I was 10, 11 years old, 12 years old, freaking off with little girls, girls 11, 12, 13 years old. I'm a 10-year-old boy, 11-year-old boy. I had my first girlfriend fake girlfriend. I was 5 years old, even though that wasn't real, but I had feelings for women, you know? So when I was 13, 14 years old, we used to have our little clubhouses and shit. I had a little girlfriend. I was 13, 12 at the time, 13, and we was kissing and feeling on each other because your body is ready. That's nature. Your body is telling you, okay? So same thing in the ancient world. Hell, when I was 17 years old, I had a 14-year-old girlfriend. She was a freshman in high school. I was getting ready to go to my senior year. And when you look at her body, I mean, this little broad was, she had niggas in their 30s trying to talk to her, man. Him, a little 17-year-old dude. You got grown-ass niggas trying to talk to this what they consider a little girl, but her body was just a whole different. It was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? And that's lawful. So it's the same thing. So when you go back here, right, it says, according to the Jewish Woman's Archive, Rebecca was 14 years old when she married Isaac. This is based on the fact that Isaac was 26. He had 12 years on her. But in this society, they say, oh, that's great. That's statutory because it's under the age of 17. Okay. In certain countries, I believe the age of consent is 16. Canada. America, the age is 17. Okay, 17 years old, consensual sex, meaning a 17-year-old woman can have relationships with a 30-year-old man consensually, okay? Now, if he decides to say, fuck you, I'm going to take it anyway, then, of course, they'll hit him with the you-know-what, because this society caters to women, okay? And then you got a bunch of butthurt, plagued out, disgruntled women. You got a bunch of wet booty simps out there that cater to women, and they pander to the woman's emotions. So, therefore, when they hear things like this, like I said, niggas are very reactive. They feel some type of way. Their feelings get hurt. They get offended, you know, not thinking things through, not using common sense, because it's really fucking common sense at the end of the day. All right, so it says here, Rebecca was 14 years old when she married Isaac. This is based on the fact that Isaac was 26 when Rebecca left her father's house and 40 when he married Rebecca. Whoa. So I take that back. He had he had 26 years on her. This will be considered an old man in today's term, dealing with a 14-year-old woman. And that was common back in them times. Like my grandmother, she was like 14, 15 years old when she got married. My mother was 15 years old when she had my sister. Okay, now I'm not saying that's wise in this kingdom, okay? But nonetheless, my grandmother, being an 80-year-old woman, born back in the late 30s. Husband, nigga was probably like 18, 19. And I call him because he wasn't my grandfather. Okay, so Salakia, you call your grandfather nigga? No, he wasn't my grandfather. She wasn't married to my father's mother, but my mother's father. But nonetheless, he was significantly older than her. Okay, and this is in the 1900s. So for a nigga to sit up here and get mad and try to twist shit to make us look bad, hey, the Most High is going to destroy them niggas. I promise you, Yahweh Shai is going to bring a harsh judgment upon these dudes, man. Okay, so let's go into the scriptures real quick. Let's go to the book of, because there's a couple of words I want to look up. All right, so I went to Deuteronomy 22, and we're going to read it in the King James Version, and we're going to read it in the New Living Testament. Okay, so let's start at verses 22, right? Matter of fact, let's start at verses 20. So it says, but if this thing be true, I mean, the whole chapter is really good. Let's start at 20. It says, let's start at 20, fuck. The whole chapter is good. 20. But if this thing be true, let the tokens of our virginity be not found for the damsel, right? Keyword, I want to look up damsel and I'm going to look up virgin. And it says, and they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of the city shall stone her with stones that she die, because she had wrought folly in Israel to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put away evil from among you. But it says, but if a man be found lying with a woman married to a husband, then they both should them die, both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. So should thou put away evil from Israel. But if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed, which is engaged unto a husband, and a man find her in a city and lie with her, then you should bring them both out into the gate of that city, and you should stone them with stones that they die, because that's adultery, right? It says the damsel, because she cried not, being in a city, and the man because he had humbled his neighbor's wife, meaning that that's adultery. The reason why she's getting put to death because she didn't cry out, because she was with it. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and a man force her, which is grape, and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. And it says force her because he went against the fact that she was already betrothed. Okay, it's not the fact that he forced himself on her, but the fact about it is that she was married and he forced himself on her, which is adultery. Then he gets put to death because you basically took another man's goods and she was already engaged. But it says, unto the damsel thou should do nothing. But there is in the damsel no sin worthy of death because she literally had no power against it and she was married. It says, and as for when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. So basically, the husband, he could put that nigga to death. But it says, for he found her in the field, and betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. But if a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then that man that lie with her should give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she should be his wife, because he had humbled her, meaning that he had sex with her. He may not put her away all the days of his wife, of his life. So now let's look up the word damsel in the Hebrew, right? And we're going to get the word damsel. And it reads, the Hebrew word, it goes into the book of Na'ira, right? Na'ara, which means a girl, a damsel, a female servant, a girl, damsel, little girl, of young woman, marriageable young woman, meaning she was of the age, her body was ready for procreation. Okay, all the juices was flowing. She was ready to get the hots going. All right, marriageable young woman. Okay, when you go into the Virgin Mary, she was basically a marriageable young woman, and she was a virgin because she was a young woman. Okay, she was marriageable because she was of the age of consent for sex for a man. Okay, being she was probably around 13, 14, Salakia, and also she was young. Same thing when you go into the color purple. Celie was 14 years old. Mr. was probably in his late 20s, early 30s almost. And what happened? The father gave Celie to Mr. And Mr. was 14 years old. He wanted Nettie, but Nettie probably was like 11 or 12. You know, and back in the day, women was much more mature, acting for their age. So you would have thought Nettie in today's age would have been like a 16, 17-year-old woman, and Celie like a 21-year-old woman, because the maturity levels are different. Okay, but she was young. That's why he said, you can't have Nettie. She's too young. And on top of that, the father was popping the daughter anyway, so he didn't want to give her up. Okay, he was popping her for himself. Okay, but the point is, Celie was 14. Mr. was probably in his mid-20s. But it says here, a little girl of a young woman, marriageable young woman, concubine, prostitutes. So a damsel could be known as a whore too. All right, maid, female attendant, female servant. That's the definition for damsel. Now, when you go into the word virgin, right, get some understanding on it. There's two different definitions for the word virgin in the Hebrew. From what I research, it could be more, but the main ones, right, goes into the Hebrew word, which is what is that? What is it? Ba. That's the ba. Thawala, all right, which I can't pronounce that, but Bathwala, we say it that way. The ba, the tha, the wa, and the la, and the ha. But instead of la ha is la, because you know the feminine noun on it. But it says here a virgin, right? So it just means virgin. So it can be a woman that's not touched, a young woman, etc. But we just read that Isaac was 40 years old when he finally married her, right? So when you go here to the New Living Testament, just to get some understanding on it, and we got to break this down, Deuteronomy 28:2-28 for dummies, because these guys are acting like a bunch of immature kids. But anyway, this is the book of Deuteronomy 22, and I'm going to start at verses 25 again. It says here, but if the man meets the engaged woman, which is betrothed, out in the country, and he rapes her, then only the man must die. Do nothing to the young woman. She has committed no crime worthy of death. She is as innocent as a murder victim. Since the man raped her out in the country, it must be assumed that she screamed, but there was no one to rescue her. But suppose a man has intercourse with a young woman who is a virgin, okay, but not engaged to be married. It says, and if they discover it, he must pay our father 50 pieces of silver. Then he must marry the young woman because he violated her, and he may never divorce her as long as he lives. All right. Now, I remember just a little while ago, that word was grape. Okay. It was actually grape in verses 28, but they changed it. You see what I'm saying? But it's the same concept. Now, let's try another. Look at this real quick. NIV. Yep. Matter of fact, it's the NIV version. Now, it says here, if a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and rapes her, and they are discovered, he should pay the father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the young woman, for he has violated her or humbled her. He can never divorce her as long as he live. Okay, but that's the point. He has to pay a dowry. There was no death penalty to it. That's his wife now. But it says grape. Okay, which grape is all throughout the Bible. And we're just telling you for truth's sake. We're not telling you clowns out there to go out there and start smacking women over the head and doing that shit. For one thing, you ain't got to grape nobody in this society because the women are whores they will willingly throw the punani at you, man. Okay, and you know what's I find so fucking ironic? This is the same pinball head, musket brain Negro right here that on the Passover or sometime when they had them prostitutes and them strippers. I believe it was around that time or what other time. This is the same pickle jar head nigga that's going. He said, "Oh, I'll be all in them hoes DM. We be all in them strippers DM. We gonna get the." He said it, and the brother actually went into it on the video, man. So this same guy didn't put his funky ass big toe in his mouth because he's that much of a fucking hypocrite. Okay, and the Most High got something special for this little nigga right here, man. This dude is a real demon. You know, and it ain't even trying to throw any shade or shots at nobody, bro. But it just, you got to call a spade a spade. The dude is a fucking low. He's a fucking slime. He's a low life, man. You know? He ain't gonna mention when he ran on his boy Alazar. And then another thing too, when you go into the whole concept of the eating food sacrificed to idols. So you mean to tell me that you niggas don't have food on Thanksgiving? And I'm not saying going to a celebration, but I'm just saying, right? Because most of us, we don't go to families' houses. At least I don't. Let's just say if I went to Pizza Hut and I got me that's a bad example. Let's say if I made me some turkey tails, some oxtails, macaroni and cheese, you know, some steamed vegetables, steamed rice, and I'm eating food. But you say we can eat foods offered to idols. Every goddamn thing we eat here is offered to idols, bro. Why you think the scriptures tells us in Ezekiel that we should eat our bread defiled among the Gentile? Why is it defiled? Because it's poison, man, and it's offered to idols. So you mean to tell me the food you eat on Thanksgiving outside of the ceremony, or just a regular dinner you made because you was hungry that day, you mean to tell me that that food ain't sacrificed to idols? Or you mean to tell me you fast every fucking Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's Eve or whatever the fuck holidays y'all claim y'all don't keep? When your boy Alazar clearly eats Taco Bell. And that shit is sacred. That shit is so demonic to the point that demons don't even want nothing to do with that shit, man. You got your boy eating Taco Bell on live stream, bro. So what are you talking about, man? Are you getting on Alazar for that shit? Because clearly Taco Bell was sacrificing to idols, man. Just the slogan alone shows you it got what? I think the 666 in it. So he's a big head hypocrite, man. And Yahweh Shimi Hawashai is going to do something terrible to both these dudes, man. You know? But anyway, neither here nor there. So let's go into it again, the NIV version. In case a nigga think we making it up. Because see, Jake, man, they like to twist words. But this is the book of Deuteronomy 22 in the NIV. It says, if a man happens to meet a virgin, which is a young woman or a woman that has not been touched, she hasn't been touched because clearly if she had sex with somebody, she would be married to that man. So this is a virgin speaking of a woman that have not had any type of intercourse with a man. Okay. And it says here, if he happens to meet a virgin who was not pledged to be married and he rapes her and they are discovered, he should pay her father 50 shekels of silver. So that's a dowry for it, bro. Okay. Now, let's do this. Let's go to the book of Isaiah 7 and 14. And we're going to get that definition for the word virgin. Okay, because like I said, you got Ilama and then you got Bathwala, which are two different words for virgins. Okay, Bathwala just means a woman that haven't been touched by a man or have not known a man. When you go into this word virgin, Isaiah 7:14, and it reads, it says, therefore the Lord himself should give you a sign. And behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son and shall call his name Emmanuel, which is Amunallah, which means the Most High be with us. Okay. Now, when you go into this word virgin in the Hebrew, this word here goes into the Hebrew word ilama, right? It says virgin, young woman of marriageable age, maid or newlywed. Now, clearly, when Isaac went into Rebekah, she was a young woman, right? At that time, meaning if she was 14 years old, meaning that her body was ready for marriage. So when your body or when a woman's body starts to ovulate and, you know, have the changes of puberty, when she starts to get the hots, your body don't lie to you, man. When you start feeling shit at the right time, that means it's telling you that it's time to go. And you may have some men that may have betrothed their daughters off to men, you know, and he may have waited 4 or 5 years, give or take. Like, let's say if y'all had a 26-year-old guy and he wanted to marry my daughter, she was 14. And I looked at her and I accessed her and she wasn't really developed yet. She was still kind of immature minded. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. You can be betrothed to her. I'll keep her away. But give her like 3-4 more years for her to mature and for her to learn, you know, her womanly duties. And then I think she would be good to, you know, send off for marriage. And that way y'all can do y'all thing, you know, and bring me back some grandkids and some substance and, you know, some livestock. We gonna do that in the kingdom, man. All right. But you had situations like that, you know. Every situation is different, but ideally, nature-wise, she was marriageable. Okay, so virgin, young woman of marriageable age, maid or newly married. Okay, it's simple, Jake. It's not that hard. It's really not hard to understand at all. All right. So we went into the Hebrew word, both Hebrew words for damsel, and also both words for virgin, and we went into the word for damsel as well. Now I got another precept here, which is in the book of Mark 5, and I'm gonna start at verses. Let's start at verses. 5 and 39. Let's get that word for the word damsel. Now this is in the New Testament, and it should be along the same lines of what we just read in Deuteronomy, the 22nd chapter for damsel. So this is the book of Mark 5, and I'm gonna start at verses 39. It says, and when he was come in, he said unto them, why make ye this also and weep? And the damsel was not dead, but sleepeth. So let's look up this word damsel, because the blue letter be changing shit around too. I remember the New Living Testament saying great, but then again, it could have been an NIV. Okay, the New International Version. So we go into the word damsel here, and it goes into the Greek word padion, right? Which means a young child, a little girl, children, like children of intellect. But I remember one also word for damsel was like a marriageable young woman. So let's do this as well. Because sometimes, like I said, you have an English word to describe different words in Hebrew and Greek, which proves that English is a bullshit ass language, right? So let's look at Mark 6, the 6th chapter. Look up the word damsel. And this is just for edification purposes. If we don't find it, the point has already been made. We can actually shut it down. But this word is korasion, right? Which means a girl, a damsel, or a maiden. Going back until we read about damsel in Deuteronomy 28, which means a woman. It could be a prostitute, a young woman, a marriageable woman, a girl, a damsel, a maiden. Okay? So, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's pretty straightforward. You know, an unmarried girl, young woman, of an older woman, unmarried, not having made it, basically like a virgin, a young woman. Okay, but an older woman, unmarried, but she's old enough for marriageable or for sexual intercourse. And that's really all we're saying. We're not telling you to go out there and do no dumb shit, but grape was clearly in the scriptures, bro. I mean, it's just what it is. Men do that dumb shit. Okay, I'll put it to you this way. Men do that uncircumspect shit today, and they get in trouble for it. In the ancient world, it was lawful to do. It wasn't always the expedient thing to do, but you had some families that just wasn't on their shit. You know, it wasn't a sin punishable to death if you take a man's daughter and snatch up and do what you do. The father may have not been happy about it. You know what I'm saying? But what can he do? He can't do shit about it. So therefore, okay, well, you coveted my property because the daughter is the property of the father until she's married off to a man. Then he paid the fucking price for it. And 50 shekels of silver is not a cheap price. Okay. So if you were doing that, you gotta have some coins under the belt. But even then, if you was that well off, then just do it the traditional way. But either way it go, these niggas are making a big deal over nothing, bro. And they're just trying to get Jake roped up. And like what I said, man, when all hell break loose, telltale time is gonna show you who these men really are. They're gonna reveal. They already revealed themselves. Scripture say you should know them by their fruit. So I'm done with it. Giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you will edify. To the next lesson. Shalom.